Is it possible there is simply no solution to the problem of homelessness for a handful of people in Abbotsford? This small group has been the focus of a lot of attention from the city and charity organizations, and still, they live outside, in a field, in conditions that are simply unfit, really, for humans. The latest chapter involves an order from the city to have their homeless camp dismantled. Today, the deadline passed. The people are still there. And joining us tonight in studio is Pastor Ward Draper of the 5 and 2 Ministries. And on the phone, also from Abbotsford, is Margaret Dawson, a woman who's familiar with the situation because she lives nearby. Margaret, thanks for joining us tonight. Oh, we don't have her yet, just yet. All right. Ward is here. You've been here before. We've talked about this group of people before.
Yes.
This has got to feel futile. I mean, we're just moving the deck chairs on the Titanic here.
It's really what it is. It gets, yeah, definitely frustrating, definitely tiring. Our city just seems to want to perpetuate these issues to keep themselves busy. I'm not too sure what's going on. I mean, we have a number of agencies and groups who have put forward ideas that are reasonable, that our city could embrace and try to move forward with as solutions. I mean, a good example is the Abbotsford Community Services thing. Their housing project for 20 homeless men is a project our city could just go, let's go with this. It's not solving all the homeless issues in Abbotsford, but it is one thing that we could immediately do. But they're standing in the way of that. You know, and also standing in the way of getting our health care stuff in the way going as well with the harm reduction as well, right? So the city just keeps going.
Yeah, well, let's talk dignity camps because that's something that works fairly well in Portland, for example. I know you and I talked about it last time you were here. You've brought it up with the mayor. Has it gone anywhere?
Well, we have a meeting actually coming up next week with Bruce to talk a bit more about the village. We ourselves are ready to go. We have.
When you say ready to go, what does
well,
that mean?
well, right now I just finished writing up the. We have a site. I wrote up the application process for people who would like to move into this camp. We want to develop it into a longer-term transitional housing. Using containers and such like that. But right now we want to just start with the nomadic phase to get some people into an area that's secure and they can call home and they're not going to be kicked around. So we're good to go in that definition.
Has somebody given you land, donated land?
We have some property owners in Abbotsford who have put up just shy of 10 acres that we can lease or with the potential to buy. And so right now we're just taking the steps to secure some place for people to live for a while, and then we're going to work out the details on the lease and stuff with the property owners in the beginning of next year. So we're working with a couple of architecture firms trying to do some layouts, container ideas. So we are actively doing something, and we're going to be talking to Bruce more about that in detail on Monday. But we're just trying to keep some of that stuff under wraps. We didn't want to go too big with it yet because this is a first of its kind in Canada. But like we said, I drew up the plans. We've got an entire schematic of how things are going to go. So it's coming close to reality.
Yeah, let's talk about those 20 people who tonight are still camped out.
Yeah.
They're on land they're not supposed to be on anymore. The city wants them off.
Yep.
When the city walks up and does that and says, all right, here's the order, you know, you guys got to move along, do they offer up any kind of solution? Do they say, okay, here, go to Sally Ann, go to...
Well, they'll say things like that. They'll say, well, go to the service providers for help. Well, the service providers are doing all we can. We've maxed out our potential for housing and other solutions. We need some new things in our community. And so that's what we had a meeting this week about at City Hall about their strategy. What are service providers going to do? Well, we're already doing all we can really do at this point in time. We need the city to open up and to...
We did contact the city. Granted, it was late this afternoon, and the mayor was in a meeting until 5 o'clock, so we have not heard back from them.
Yeah.
They have an opportunity to be leaders here.
Yes, they do.
They seem to be missing that opportunity.
Yeah, we as service providers, and I speak for a number of folks, all are feeling the same way. Here's an opportunity for our city to set precedents, to take charge, to show people how things can be done. We're not asking the city for, like, say, a lot of help. We're just asking them to say yes. And just to move to the side and embrace new ways of doing things. It won't cost the city a lot. In fact, most of the time, most of the solutions that are being putting forward will save our city tens of thousands of dollars.
Bylaw officers, policing costs.
Exactly.
Cleanup if they've done much cleanup after folks leave those sites.
So they just got to step out of the side.
Recently, the mayor of Vancouver and the police chief of Vancouver came forward and said, all right, we got a mental health problem on the downtown east side. We need help.
Yeah.
I believe that spurred the provincial government into action because just, I think it was last week, the health minister, Terry Lake, came up and said, all right, here are the steps we're taking. 12 extra beds at St. Paul's for mental health issues. Teams, you know, a couple more teams of people roaming the streets of the downtown east side to help people. Does it frustrate you that your community isn't getting that same kind of attention?
Oh, definitely frustrating. But I mean, with our city's way of treating Fraser Health, I mean, it's putting up roadblocks to developing those necessary programs, because we do need more liaison officers and RNs and nurse practitioners on our street doing the healthcare stuff. We need more spaces for the mental health issues. But I mean, first and foremost, what we have to address, as I think most service providers in this country will say, is we just need housing options, a variety of places where people can just be safe and secure, and then we can take that next step. That's the
Well, they need a roof over their head and
Exactly.
a bathroom and a place to wash your face.
Yeah.
And then we can start talking about the issues.
Exactly.
Margaret,
That's the difficulty.
Yeah, Margaret Dawson is joining us now on the phone. Hi, Margaret.
Hi.
This is about Chapter 7 in this story. How are you feeling tonight about this sort of latest eviction notice for the people?
Well, it's amazing, yes. I didn't hear all of it because I haven't been able to get all the information, so I'm not too sure exactly what I missed.
Well, you know what? These folks have been asked to move along again. Tell me, is this latest group of, it's about 20 people, I understand, and it had been down to 5 folks living in that field. Have you noticed the ranks swelling over recent weeks?
Are we referring to Jubilee Park or down by the Salvation Army?
Jubilee Park.
Jubilee Park.
Oh, Jubilee Park. Okay. And the question is, have I noticed? Well, I have. I don't. I'm dealing with them across in another area, and they're always present there. So I don't see them down in that area very often. But I find it humorous that it's such a big issue, because I've been dealing with this issue for 8 years without anyone being too worried about it.
Well, aren't you glad that people are at least paying attention now?
I am glad, and I just wonder who is this about, you know? Who matters here? We all do. And I just really wonder why something isn't being done, because there's many things that could be done for sure.
What about the mayor and city council? Have you spoken with them recently?
Well, I've spoken with them for the last 8 years, and they have promised me many different things, and I still nothing has happened. And I'd like to really ask the question, what would it be like if the homeless were across from their homes? Would they change what they're doing?
Pastor Ward Draper.
I think maybe yes in some cases and maybe no in others. That's a tough one to answer, because a lot of our friends are not there by choice, and they would like to have a choice, but there is no choice. So that would be difficult to answer. I mean, some people would be okay with it, definitely, and some people definitely wouldn't be. So there's no definitive answer on a response on that one.
Right, although I get Margaret's point.
Yeah, I do totally.
I think her point is valid, that people tend to take more action when it's impacting them daily.
Yes, and I think it's addiction and mental illness, and that's never going to change. And housing is very important, absolutely. But I don't think it's, getting them into the housing is what's also important, but helping the people that are in need on the street, it is really, just the health issue alone is absolutely horrendous.
It sure is, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for joining us, Margaret. We do appreciate your time. We know this impacts you daily where you live. And you know what, Pastor Draper? Keep banging the drums.
We'll try.
All right, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Joe.
Coming up tonight on Here's the Deal, how close is too close when it comes to close encounters with a creature this big? Mario Canseco and Cheryl Ziola joining us later for Here's the Deal. Up next, it took a Freedom of Information request to find out what the Harper government knows about Canadians and assisted suicide. Why keep this info secret?